So there's been some controversy inside of Squad Busters. Controversy, drama, call it whatever. So there's been a few bugs in the game that people have been exploiting to get further account progression and cosmetic progression. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's start with our first example, Exhibit A. So before Squad League reset, or maybe it was after Squad League reset, people who were in Squad League were able to do this things where they could like refresh their shop multiple times without spending money and get, free baby characters. And people who exploited this glitch were banned for 7 days, or most of the people who exploited it. Some people did it like once or twice, they were kind of let off the hook. But people who got a bunch of progression out of it were banned for 7 days. And there are two kinds of people who are upset by this. People who are upset for using the glitch, and people who are upset at people for using the glitch. There's some people who are upset because they feel like they shouldn't be banned for Supercell's faulty coding for the devs, improper coding. And me personally, I think that's unfair to kind of think that, because as someone who has programmed before, done coding for apps and websites, it's kind of narrow-minded to just blame the dev team for the uses of exploitations and stuff like that in video games. I understand it's frustrating, and I do believe that part of a programmer's job is to make sure that the program runs as smoothly as possible without being super broken in any aspect or regard whatsoever. But as someone with experience, coding and programming is just very, it's really tough. The code has to be exact and perfect in order to run without issues. And as you all know, humans are not perfect beings whatsoever, not even close. So, as humans, we tend to make mistakes, and programmers are humans too, and they make mistakes as well. That doesn't take away from the fact that programmers should, make sure that everything runs smoothly. I'm not trying to completely excuse them. I can, sympathize with, coding not working to the way it should be. I've had my fair share of experience with that as well. And as for the players who are upset about, getting banned, I don't know, you kind of, cheated the system, knowingly cheated the system, and you're getting punished for it. You could have just not done it. By using exploits, you assume the risk of, account termination. Luckily, you didn't get terminated. You, in my opinion, you got off with a slap of the wrist, because I know other companies and dev teams to where, if their player base ever did an exploit like that, they would get banned forever, because it's kind of, TOS for players to knowingly use exploits that will give them an advantage in the game. So, and by getting those baby characters, that is an exploit that you use to get an advantage in game. So I don't really see why people who use the exploit are upset for, using the exploit, using something that they know they shouldn't be using. I can sympathize with the people who are upset that they didn't use the exploit, and that the people who, did use it are kind of getting off easy. And I honestly agree. There are some people who got a couple hundred babies. There are a few people who got 1,000 babies. And to put that in the context, 1,000 babies is the equivalent of one Ultra character. That's how much progression they got. And it's kind of frustrating to know that within, a week's time from the ban, we'll have to face against these players, and we'll be at a disadvantage because they use the exploit and are able to use that exploit in-game despite getting a 7-day ban. It's just not fair for the player base who, were honest and didn't use the exploit or maybe they weren't able to use the exploit because they weren't in Squad League, but the people who, didn't use the exploit, regardless on whether or not they had access to it, are now, kind of at a disadvantage because they were honest, they didn't cheat the system, but the people who did have all the progression, have all the, stuff that they got by cheating the system. So I can definitely understand why players are upset at that, and I wish there was a way for Supercell to, roll back those extra rewards, but as far as I know, they haven't figured it out yet, and I don't think they will, which is just very unfortunate. But yeah, it kind of just leaves a message of, oh hey, if you, knowingly exploit our game, well, you're kind of gonna get, let off the hook with a slap on the wrist, and you even get to keep all the stuff that you exploited out of us, Like, I just think that's kind of unfair for the players. And the second, part of the whole Squad Busters drama is how there's an exploit to where you can get a bunch of style tickets, and the people who use the exploit got their tickets rolled back, and some people are in the negatives for ticket balance, as funny as that sounds. So basically, there's a community event that just happened to where you can get, where you can get 300 style tickets by getting to a certain amount of emotes used. And this was a community event, so you specifically didn't have to use emotes. It was just, if everyone used enough emotes, they could get rewards. One of the rewards being 300 style tickets. Remember that number, by the way, 300. So we reached the milestone and got the reward, but for some reason in the shop, you were able to claim that reward up to 100 times. So what that did was some people who, saw this, they were able to claim 300 tickets 100 times. And if you do the math, 300 times 100 equals to 30,000. So some people got a bunch of tickets, up to 30,000 tickets, and some people were kind of upset about it, about the people who were exploiting it, but it was for cosmetic progression, so not too many people were bummed out about it, but there's still some people who are upset that the bug even happened. So Supercell's response to it was to just roll back the tickets. No one got banned for it, or at least as far as I know, but the tickets did get rolled back. And some people's, ticket counter are in the negatives because they rolled back every, 300 tickets that they weren't supposed to get. So like, for example, if you got 300 tickets 10 times, you got to keep the first 300 tickets, but the other 300 times 9 being 2,700, were rolled back. And if you spent those tickets, your ticket count was in the negatives. And people were upset because, it was an exploit on Supercell's end. Supercell was the reason why this exploit even happened. So why are they being punished for Supercell's faulty coding? And I don't know, I think it's a very naive take on the whole thing, because again, you're not supposed to use exploits. Like, it is against the terms of service. You can get banned from playing the game in the first place by using those exploits. So when people get upset for, being held accountable for using exploits, it's kind of just like, it's like, yeah, what'd you expect? You did something you weren't supposed to do. And you're just facing the consequences of your actions. I understand that, Supercell needs to do a better job with programming their games to make sure that every aspect of it runs smoothly as possible without any issues. I understand. But no one's telling you, hey, use the exploit. No one's telling you, hey, cheat the system. You are the one who is cheating the system. You are making that choice to cheat the system. And by making that choice, you are taking a chance at being held responsible. So that's just my take on it, honestly. It's unfortunate that all these exploits keep happening. I hope this isn't a sign of what's to come in the future. But if I'm being completely honest, if you see something that's an exploit and you know it's an exploit, don't use it. You could be held responsible for that. Your account could be seriously messed up by having a negative ticket counter. And then look at all these skins. And not just these skins, but future skins that you can't buy because you chose to do an exploit. And that's all I gotta say about it, really. Like, just don't use exploits. Don't do anything to cheat the system. Just, stay safe, play fair. Stuff like that. If you really want all those style tickets, just buy them. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I understand, multi-billion dollar company getting richer and stuff like that. I understand, but, it's just the fair and legal way to get a progression. And that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Take care of each other and love each other. And peace.